Deep life is a life worth living. 2 days ago, I had a book arrive. It's called Deep Work by Cal Newport. He's a very accomplished student at MIT. And this book is part of the whole portfolio of self-improvement genre. It gets a lot of hate online, but the lessons in here are actually really valuable. I'm not going to go over them, but I'm going to talk about how I've identified how I've been living my life wrong recently and the impact that's had on my well-being and mental health. I'm a person who, especially more recently, has split their attention extensively instead of intensively. Because I'm a person who I don't know how to describe. Essentially, I spread my attention out and my interactions out, my conversations out over so many people as to not put all my faith into one person. It's why I've been reluctant to ever get in a relationship as well, because although theoretically you can just end the relationship, if you have intensively focused on a specific individual, that's a massive single point of failure in your lifestyle. I think that's the right word to use. If you're so spread out, so thinly spread, if one person or one thing happens, it doesn't affect you because you have so many other like vectors of growth. In this book, it philosophically insinuates that a life of depth is better than a shallow life. And a shallow life in this context, for me, is living across the world instead of penetrating it. A craftsman. It doesn't sound like an amazing job. All you do is bang heavy metal or carve wood. But the relationship a craftsman has with his craft is well known to be a highly intimate one. The intrinsic reward craftsmen get out of their work can be replicated in the modern day, where knowledge-based work is commonplace. Think about it. If you're at university, your job, your study, your vector, your vessel of income is knowledge and information based. You can get the same purpose and meaningfulness out of that profession, and it doesn't matter if it's a boring or relevant profession, you can. I've recorded this because I've wanted to actualize my propensity to be thinly spread out. I think both have their benefits and drawbacks. Not for work. Working deeply will always, 99% of the time, be better than shallow work. But a life shallowly lived and a life deeply lived, both have good and bad connotations. Think about it. A shallow life, what would that constitute? Traveling the world constantly. Location freedom, time freedom. You don't settle down. You don't tie yourself geographically. Of course, you have parents and friends who tie you to an extent, but you remain free-spirited. Would this experience be bad? Inherently, I don't think so. Maybe you could get a bit bored after a while, but what's the contrast? The stark contrast is marrying very early and continuing that marriage until one of you are deceased. Now, that situation is put into light. It is seen by society as an amazing phenomenon that two people can put up with each other, enjoy each other's company for 70 years. Especially in the modern day, where less people are marrying and less people are committing. Birth rate is on the decline. Marriage rate is on the decline. Divorce is going up. Commitment and depth of life in general is decreasing. That's very interesting, actually. I just connected that. That is extremely interesting. Okay, so where was I going with this? So, yeah. So this is the lesson. If you're working, you need to work in depth. Don't question it, blindly follow it. Buy the book if you want to know why. I will do a few videos on it, but reading the book itself will be indispensable. Indispensable knowledge. But a life, I'm not sure. It could be a mixture, or you could commit and still live shallowly as a couple. Who knows? But for now, it's learn languages, acquire passports, location freedom, time freedom, financial freedom, which those three things are tied very closely together. That's the trajectory for now. Whether that changes in my life, I don't know. Whether that changes in your life, who knows? No one can actually plan so far ahead. I'd say the maximum you can actually plan ahead is until next Christmas. You can't plan further than next Christmas. Unless it's like Christmas Eve. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you understood the video. I found that really interesting, talking it through. When I talk through topics like this, it's really rewarding when you come to conclusions through talking, because there's some conclusions you reach which you can't reach inside here. You have to speak. And this is a bit more comfortable to me because I'm not speaking to myself, I'm speaking to the camera, which I treat like someone who's listening to me. And it also allows other people to hear what my thought process is and see if they agree, disagree, want to add to the conversation, or are just intent on observing. a lot more thinking to do.